In the village of Nema, there flows a river so deep that even the spirits refuse to cross it. The elders call it Aluo, the river that eats names. Long ago, it was said that if you whispered your own name into its dark waters, the river would shield you from all evil. But if someone else spoke your name into it, if they offered your identity to the currents with malice in their heart, the river would claim your soul before the sun next rose. In that same village lived a boy named Tund, an orphan. He spent his days carrying water for the chief's household, his existence so quiet and humble that he was practically invisible to most. He was gentle, hard-working, and tragically poor. This made him a favorite target for the chief's son, a boy named Femi, whose cruelty was as vast as his father's wealth. Femi would often sneer at Tund in front of the other villagers. "Look at him," he'd mock, his voice dripping with disdain. "He has no family, no wealth. Even the gods must have forgotten he exists." Tund never responded, bearing the insults with a silent strength that only seemed to infuriate Femi more. But one day, everything changed. While fetching water, Tund spotted a glint of gold half buried in the mud near the riverbank. He dug it out and held his breath. It was a heavy, intricately carved golden bracelet, more beautiful than anything he had ever seen. He quickly hid it in his tunic, his heart pounding. For the first time, he allowed himself to dream of a life beyond servitude, a life where he could finally buy his own freedom. That night, a proclamation was made. The chief's wife's golden bracelet was missing. A handsome reward was offered for its return. But for whoever stole it, there would be a terrible curse. Femi's eyes immediately found Tund in the crowd. A wicked smirk spread across his face. "It must be Tund," he declared loudly, pointing a finger at the orphan boy. The poor are always the first to steal. Before any of the elders could intervene, before Tund could even process the accusation, Femi broke from the crowd and sprinted towards the river. He knelt at the water's edge, his face inches from the black surface, and whispered into the night. "Aluo, the thief's name is Tund." The dark water rippled once, then twice, and then fell utterly still, as if it had swallowed the words whole. By morning, the villagers found Tund lying near the riverbank. He was pale, cold, and trembling, his eyes wide with a silent, unspeakable terror. When he tried to speak, to defend himself, no sound came out. Instead, small bubbles of water spilled from his lips and trickled down his chin. The elders gathered around him, their faces masks of horror. "The river has eaten his name," one whispered, his voice shaking. "Once your name belongs to Aluo, you are trapped neither living nor dead." Days turned into weeks. Tund became a ghost in his own village, a silent wanderer. He would point desperately to his chest, his eyes pleading for recognition, begging to be heard. But without a name, he was a stranger to everyone. His closest friends would turn away, their faces blank with confusion, unable to place the familiar yet unfamiliar boy before them. He was forgotten. Only one person seemed troubled by Tund's fate, Femi. Guilt, or perhaps fear, began to haunt him. Each night, as he lay in his comfortable bed, he dreamed of the river. He dreamed of dark water lapping at his feet, and from its depths, a wet voice whispering his own name. "Femi, Femi." It would call, a sound like gurgling mud. He tried to ignore it, to dismiss it as a bad dream. But with each passing night, the voice grew louder, closer, wetter, as if the river itself was seeping into his mind. One night, driven to the edge of madness by the relentless whispering, Femi could bear it no longer. He crept out of his hut and ran to the river's edge. He stood there, shivering, and shouted into the darkness, his voice cracking with fear and false bravado. "I am not afraid of you, spirit. I gave you his name, not mine." The river answered, but it wasn't with a whisper. It was with a roar of laughter, a chilling sound that mixed the rush of a powerful current with the echoes of 1,000 drowned voices. And then, from the dark, churning surface, something began to rise. It was a face, pale and hollow. It was Tun's face, but warped, watery, and wearing a terrifying smile. Though it had no real mouth, a voice emanated from the vision, a voice that sounded like stones scraping at the bottom of the riverbed. "You gave me away," it whispered. "Now I'll take you with me." In that instant, the current surged, grabbing Femi's ankles like icy hands. He screamed, a single piercing cry that echoed across the valley before being abruptly cut short. Then there was only the sound of the water, and then silence. By morning, the river was calm again, floating gently downstream. Catching the first rays of the rising sun was the golden bracelet. The elders understood. The river, in its insatiable hunger, had taken both names. That night, they performed a powerful cleansing ritual, pleading with the spirits to seal the waters and restore balance. But even today, the people of Nama are careful around the river. They say that sometimes, during the heavy rains when the water runs high and angry, you can still hear two voices calling from within the current. One calls, Tund, and the other answers, Femi. And from the deep, dark places, the river always replies with the sound of hunger. For the tongue is its own kind of river. Once your words are spoken, you can never pull them back. And evil spoken in envy will always find its way back to the one who spoke it. Thank you for listening.